Hi, I'm Ankita Harmalkar, and today I'm going to present on the topic of heterogeneous multiprocessor system on chips or heterogeneous MP-SoC. We'll be discussing the basics of SoC, what is MP-SoC, what are the types of MP-SoCs, how do you design it, and then we'll be discussing the applications. Also, we'll be talking about a specific example of Zinc UltraScale Plus, which is the latest MP-SoC available in the market. So let's begin our presentation. So that's our topic, heterogeneous multiprocessor system on chip. Let's look into the contents. We'll be talking about the basics, the block diagram of MP-SoC, how is MP-SoC designed, the types of MP-SoCs, why heterogeneous. We'll be discussing the system level design flow of MP-SoCs, the design automation strategies. We'll look into the important concept of wrappers, why wrappers are important, and then we'll talk about automatic generation of application specific MP-SoCs. As I mentioned, we'll be talking about specifically Zinc UltraScale Plus from Xilinx. So let's begin. This is the basic UltraScale architecture from Xilinx. It has huge number of functionalities, hardware programmable, software programmable. It has massive IO bandwidth and memory bandwidth and tons of data routing through the entire architecture. But to understand such a heavy architecture, first we need to refresh with our basics, that's SoC and MP-SoC. So let's talk about what is system on chip. System on chip is nothing but integration of different computing elements or CPUs on a single integrated circuit. Means different CPUs are combined together on a single IC. It may be digital, analog, mixed signal or RF, all on one chip to enhance its functionality. To increase its functionality and capabilities more, we add more number of computing elements or CPUs to form a multiprocessor system on chip. It consists of more than one computing subsystems that we talked, more number of memories, IO devices and other peripherals. And such kind of MP-SoCs can be found in MP3 players, video game consoles, digital cameras and mobile phones. It can be found from a small set-top box to the industrial level controllers. So MP-SoCs are far and more found everywhere. This is a basic block diagram of MP-SoC where there is processor 0, processor 1. Both are connected using a system bus and they share a same system memory. They can be one core or each. In this example we can see there are two cores. They have their personal fast memory accesses, that is the caches. So let's zoom in these processors to understand more about them at component level. Every MP-SoC architecture is made up of three types of components. First is the software subsystem, hardware subsystem and inter-subsystem communication. As we all know, to connect hardware and software, we require inter-subsystem communication. It can be first in first out protocol or global interconnection networks like network on chip. There are various routing algorithms for network on chip architectures specifically, but we'll not go into the basics of them. We'll talk about now software subsystems and hardware subsystems. So what's in hardware subsystem? A hardware subsystem is nothing but implement specific functionality of an application or a global memory subsystem. To understand it more, it means components associated with a specific application. In hardware subsystem, as we can divide, there are two types of subsystems, that's intra-subsystem communication and specific hardware components. Specific hardware components represent target specific components and global memories accessible by computing subsystems. What do you mean by intra-subsystem communication? These hardware components need to communicate with each other to share data, and this is done by intra-subsystem communication. What is software subsystems? They are the processor nodes of architecture. It consists of computing resources like CPU central processing unit, which can be a single core or a multi-core, which executes programs stored in the memory by fetching their instructions and examining them. As we can see, there is computing resource, that is the CPU, intra-subsystem communication to communicate between various hardware components associated with this system, and they can follow protocols like first in first out, and hardware components, as we can see, that is the local memories, input output components, or hardware accelerators. Moving further into the design of MPSOC, the MPSOC can be of two types. Either it can be shared memory communication or a message passing communication. Shared memory communication is a communication between different CPU which is made through a global shared memory line. CPU can read or write a word of its memory by just executing load and store instruction. Processors can also have local memory for program code, while in message passing, it can be multiple software stacks running on an identical or non-identical software subsystem. It means that the communication between processor is explicit through I/O operators. It can communicate via primitives using send and receive. Moving forward, what are the types of MPSOCs? There are two types, as we know, homogeneous and heterogeneous. By the name itself, we can make out that homo means same and hetero means different. In homogeneous, we have identical processors, higher flexibility and easier system scalability, and more suited for general purpose DSP tasks. While in heterogeneous, we have multiple heterogeneous processors, higher power efficiency, and on-chip distributed memory resources. To decide which one is better, homogeneous is better for MPSOC. Homogeneous MPSOC is better for DSP task, while heterogeneous MPSOC is good for application-specific architectural needs. We select heterogeneous MPSOCs. Heterogeneous style topology with one on-chip distributed memory resources. As I said, it's application-specific, connected by network-on-chip infrastructure, which allows parallel operations of multiple tiles. It ensures higher power efficiency at a smaller area occupation, and it's more suited for low-power multimedia processing. So which design does heterogeneous system follow? As discussed earlier, it combines both the models of shared memory communication and message passing to integrate massive number of processors on a single chip. That's great. Future heterogeneous MPSOC will be made of fewer heterogeneous subsystems, where each may include massive number of same processors to run a specific software stack that's used. Let's further move into what does it take to create an industrial grade heterogeneous MPSOC, or what is the design flow to create a heterogeneous MPSOC. There are 5 main design stages. First is the system specification, second is the architectural exploration, third is the software design, fourth is the hardware design, and the integration of hardware and software. Let's have a closer look by looking at this diagram. Here we can see the first level is specification. In specification, there is a mutual agreement between system designers and customers to create an architecture, an informal model of the application functionalities needed by the customers. Second, the architectural exploration consists of software models, hardware models, and abstract platform, which are integrated and run through a performance analysis. System designers build an executable model of specifications and iterate through performance analysis loop to determine the hardware-software partitioning for SOC architecture. The abstract platform here integrates the software and the hardware module. By running this analysis, we come to a golden abstract architecture, which is application specific and which is also heterogeneous. This golden abstract architecture is further divided into software task, RTL architecture, and IP cores, or the hardware design. The hardware design is basically RTL implementation to describe the functionality of various IP cores. The software design is basically a general OS, a custom OS designed to run the hardware, and it is checked via the software hardware integration. As specifications are mentioned by the golden abstract architecture, our integration always tries to follow them, and at the end we get a custom designed MPSOC. But these MPSOCs also require some automation strategies for their development. It can be system level synthesis, platform based design, or component based design. What is system level synthesis? It's a top down approach. It means that from a small component the entire architecture is built. Each and every component is designed personally using synthesis algorithm and using SPECC. What is platform based? It's a meet in the middle approach. Starts with a functional system and pre-designed SOC platforms. Manually implement API and architectural details. So it defines some components while it integrates others. But which is the most prevalent and most followed design methodology today is component based design. It's a bottom up approach. It means that pre-designed components with standard interfaces and standard bus are used. Some design environments allow automatic generation of hardware interfaces. We'll further look into the topic of component-based designs. Starts with a set of components and set of primitives to build application-specific architecture and communication APIs. It results in the reduction of the design time and use of an abstract architecture. But what are the two protocols used to follow the component-based design? It's a bus protocol and a component protocol. Bus protocol is IBM's Core Connect. A wrapper is designed to adapt protocol of each component to Core Connect's protocol, while a component protocol is a VSIS, VCA and FI protocols, where a designer can choose a bus protocol and then design wrappers according to the protocol's needs. To change the scenario, the most novel method used is virtual architectural model, which allows automatic generation of communication coprocessors and controllers in device drivers and OS API. But before understanding all of these, first, what are wrappers? Why is wrapper important? So there is always a logical interface and a physical interface between the communication of two hardware components. To make these two ports talk to each other, we need a wrapper, or basically an interface between the two ports. It introduces flexibility in the design and allows more functionality. As we can see, wrapper implementation, there is software level wrappers and hardware level wrappers for giving functionality to both of them. In software, we have high level application primitives, APIs and drivers to control hardware, while in hardware wrapper we have process or IP adapters, channel adapters, and to communicate both of them we have internal bus. Let's look more into the idea of automatic generation of application specific MPSOCs architecture. As we have discussed the design flow of MPSOCs, this is basically how do we automatically generate MPSOCs with minimizing the steps in those design flow. So there are basically two levels of abstraction for this design of MPSOC. That's the macro architecture and the micro architecture. Macro architecture is nothing but defining the architecture at block level. It has its own communication protocols, and micro architecture is detailed RTL architecture of these block level diagrams. Let's have a closer look. Virtual architectural model, better known as macro architectural model, represents abstract architecture. It's a netlist of virtual components. Virtual components use wrappers, as we have discussed wrappers earlier. They make logical and physical ports communicate with each other. There are various classes of virtual architectures, that's a module, port, channel, etc. Here we can see the virtual architectural model. The gray box we can see is the wrapper. It has some virtual components and virtual ports associated with it. It has a virtual channel which connects them, and there are predefined configuration parameters associated with it. What is a microarchitecture? Microarchitecture abstraction level gives detailed RTL architecture. How do we get this detailed architecture? With the help of some libraries. There are two types of libraries: processor library and protocol library. Processor library consists of list of processor which has local template architectures or local templates to build an architecture, that is processor cores, local buses, local IPs, processor adapters, while a protocol library is a list of channel adapters, or basically the types of communication protocol followed between the two types of component. It has simulation, estimation and synthesis model that are parameterized as elements in the processor library. Here we can see the CPU X and CPU Y are defined in the processor library, while the handshake plus first in first out are defined by the protocol library and used in the communication network. To our example, that's a Zinc UltraScale Plus MPSoC, industry's first heterogeneous multiprocessor system on chip, which has 5x performance as compared to its previous version of Zinc 7000. It's a high performance ARM family with multi-core multiprocessing system and the best-in-class programmable logic. It's a 64-bit processor combining real-time control of soft and hard engines. It can find its application as 5G, wireless technology, the ADAS or the camera capture technique, and industrial level Internet of Things. This is the block diagram of Zinc UltraScale Plus. There's a processing unit, the DDR or the memory controller. We have programmable logic setting here, system control, and various kinds of USB connectivities are defined here. This is a basic block diagram of Zinc UltraScale Plus MPSoC architecture. So what are the features? The quad-core ARM architecture, the graphics processing unit, which is high-end. Higher speed connectivity is ensured through PCI, USB 3.0. Advanced security and safety is also secured with the support of 4096-bit RSA keys and hash functions. Formed with the latest 16 nanometer FinFET technology from the best foundries in the world. Massive memory interface bandwidth with next generation of DDR4 memory controllers, and enhanced DSP slicing for diverse application, and also massive I/O bandwidth. Where does this high-speed processor find its application? It finds its application into camera-based advanced driver's assistance system to control the accident levels in a car. It can be used in motion control, broadcast cameras, solid-state drives used in fast computers, can be used to deploy public safety and military mobile radios, and to design a communicating remote radio unit. So it basically finds its applications everywhere. Concluding to our topic, we refresh the basic idea of MPSoC and types of MPSoCs, discuss the design flow of automatic generation of application-specific architectures for MPSoC, and a sneak peek into the latest industrial wonder of the first heterogeneous MPSoC and related application. Here are our reference, and thanks a lot for listening to the video.